The shower's warmth lingered on my skin as I reached for the towel draped over the wooden rack. Steam swirled around me, fogging the mirror and wrapping the small bathroom in a cocoon of heat and silence. I bent to grab the soft fabric, ready to wrap myself in it, when suddenly strong hands rested on my shoulders. Startled, I looked up at the blurred reflection in the glass. My husband stood behind me, his tall frame outlined by the mist. Before I could react, he pressed me gently yet firmly against the cool tiled wall. My heart skipped, then pounded faster. It wasn't fear. It wasn't discomfort. It was the same feeling that had carried me through our years together, an electric blend of surprise, trust, and an overwhelming rush of love. "Do you have any idea," he murmured, his voice low, "what you do to me when you look at me the way you did at dinner tonight?" Dinner had been simple: roasted vegetables, grilled fish, and soft bread I had baked earlier in the day. We hadn't planned anything special, but the way he kept looking at me across the table made me laugh nervously. His eyes weren't just eyes. They were promises, memories, and unspoken poems all at once. We had been married for 7 years. 7 years of laundry baskets, grocery bills, late-night talks, and quiet mornings. People said passion fades, that routine kills fire. But here, in the simplest moments, I felt more alive than I ever had in my youth. I remembered teasing him during dinner, brushing my hand against his when I passed the butter, giving him that mischievous glance I knew he couldn't ignore. Maybe I had started the storm without realizing it. And now, here it was, thundering between us in the steamy silence of the bathroom. My mind raced back to the first time he had ever looked at me with that intensity. We weren't married yet. It was raining, and we had been stranded at a bus stop, drenched and shivering. I had complained about the weather, about my shoes being ruined, about how the world always seemed against me. And then I had looked up, only to see him gazing at me with something so tender, so patient, so strong, that I forgot the storm outside. That was the first time my heart raced like this. Now, years later, it raced again, only faster, louder, deeper. His hands were steady on my shoulders, his eyes meeting mine through the misted mirror. "You think you can play with me, don't you?" he whispered. My lips parted, but no words came. My towel slipped from my hand, falling silently to the tiled floor. He didn't need to explain what he felt. I understood it in the way his breath touched my ear, in the way his chest pressed lightly against my back, in the way his presence filled the small room until there was no space left for anything else. I lifted my hand, touching the glass of the mirror. The fog blurred my reflection, but behind me, his gaze was sharp, unwavering. It wasn't just passion. It was devotion. It was years of laughter, of holding each other during losses, of celebrating tiny victories only we knew mattered. I turned slowly, facing him. His hand moved to my cheek, his thumb brushing away a drop of water that had lingered there. For a moment, we just stood, two souls locked in a silent conversation that didn't need words. My heart hammered, so loudly I was sure he could hear it. When he pressed me back against the wall, I didn't resist. I leaned into him, not because I had no choice, but because I wanted to. That was the beauty of us. Every touch, every closeness, was built on years of trust. "Do you know what I thought about when I saw you laughing tonight?" he asked softly, his hand still warm against my face. "What?" I whispered. "That I'd marry you all over again," he said. The words hit harder than anything else could. My throat tightened, my eyes burned, and I felt tears mix with the droplets already clinging to my lashes. 7 years, and he still looked at me as though I were his first and last love. The bathroom grew quieter, the steam beginning to fade as the water cooled in the shower. But inside me, heat surged like a river breaking its banks. "I don't deserve you," I blurted out, the sudden confession slipping past my lips before I could stop it. His brows drew together, confusion softening into tenderness. "Don't ever say that." "But it's true," I insisted. "You give me so much. Your patience, your strength, your love, and sometimes I wonder if I give enough back. My voice broke. He caught me before the doubt could swallow me. His arms wrapped around me, firm and grounding. "You give me everything," he said into my hair. "More than I ever dreamed of having. You're my home." I closed my eyes, pressing my face against his chest. The steady beat of his heart calmed the storm inside me, even as mine continued its wild rhythm. We stayed there for a long moment, holding each other as if the world outside the bathroom didn't exist. When he finally leaned back, his eyes carried that same fire I had seen in them on our wedding day. "Do you know why my heart still races for you?" he asked. I shook my head. "Because every time I look at you," he said, "I see not just the woman I married, but the woman who still surprises me, still challenges me, still makes me laugh, still makes me proud. You've never stopped being the mystery I want to spend my whole life solving." My breath caught. No jewelry, no grand gestures, no bouquet of roses could ever match the weight of those words. He rested his forehead against mine, closing his eyes. I mirrored the gesture, and in that quiet closeness, promises passed between us. Not the spoken vows of a wedding ceremony, but the kind forged in the daily act of loving each other. The promise to stay, to fight for us, to keep the fire alive even in the ordinary moments. I lifted my hands to his face, feeling the roughness of his jaw beneath my palms. My heart still raced, but now it wasn't from surprise. It was from the overwhelming realization that love like ours didn't fade with time. It deepened, it strengthened, it grew roots that storms could never uproot. Eventually, the steam cleared enough for the mirror to show our reflections clearly. My hair clung to my skin, his shirt was damp from holding me, and we both looked disheveled and breathless. Yet in that reflection, I saw beauty, not the polished kind, but the raw, unfiltered beauty of two people who belonged to each other completely. He picked up the towel from the floor and gently wrapped it around me, tucking the edges as though I were fragile glass. But his eyes told me he knew I was anything but fragile. I was his equal, his partner, his love. "Come on," he said softly. "Let's not waste the night." We left the bathroom, but the electricity between us didn't fade. Every look, every touch as we moved through the house carried a weight that words couldn't capture. We didn't need grand events to make the night special. We brewed tea, curled up on the couch, and talked. Talked about memories, about dreams, about little things we noticed in each other that still made us smile. And all the while, my heart continued its wild race, not from the shock of being pressed against a bathroom wall, but from the unshakable truth that I was still hopelessly, completely in love with my husband. Later, as we lay side by side, the quiet hum of the night wrapping around us, he reached for my hand. Our fingers intertwined, and he gave a gentle squeeze. "Still racing," he teased, his voice playful now. I laughed softly, leaning closer. "Always,"